Good morning, everyone, and I welcome all the listeners to the next session in Python programming. So, till now, in Python programming, we have studied about algorithms, and then we have started the concept of modern computer system. Under the modern computer system, we have seen about data representation, text code, etc. And then in the previous class, we have seen about how to install Python in our local Windows computer system. Right, I hope you all installed the Python because from today onwards we are going to do some programming in Python. So in today's session, we are going to start the things with data types in Python, and I request all the people to don't miss the sessions from today, because till now we have seen all the common topics which will be studied in the previous languages also. But from today's session, we are going to start the Python especially, right? So don't miss a single session because Python is the leading programming language in today's world. So I request all the people to please don't miss the session. So in today's session, we are going to start the data types in Python. So what do you mean by data type in programming language? So data type in the sense, for example, in C programming language, if we have declared a variable as something called as int a equal to 10, right? Int a equal to 10, then whenever the compiler encounters or compiler starts executing this statement, whenever it see int, immediately it will allocate 2 or 4 bytes of memory depending upon the version of the compiler. If you are using the older versions, then 2 bytes of memory space will be allocated. If you are using newer version of compiler, then 4 bytes of memory space will be allocated. So let us assume 2 bytes of memory will be allocated for an integer variable in C, and then the name of this memory space will be A because we have mentioned int A, and inside that memory location we are going to it is going to store the value of 10 because we have initialized the value initialized the value 10 to the variable A. So here what this int is telling the compiler in the sense how many bytes of space that should be allocated under this particular name. If you mention int, then 2 bytes of memory space will be allocated. If you mention character, then 1 byte of memory space will be allocated. If you mention float, then 4 bytes of memory space will be allocated. So depending upon the thing what we have given before the variable, certain size will be allocated under the variable name. So here the data type is telling how much amount of memory, right? How much amount of memory that a compiler needs to allocate for this particular variable, and what are the different values that will be stored inside that memory. If I mention int, we may store 1 or -1 or -2, 2, 0, 10, 100, etc. Right? If you mention float, we are going to store 1.5, we are going to store 2.6, 3.7, etc. And if you mention character, we are going to store a, or we are going to store @ symbol, etc. Right, see here. So here our data type is going to give the compiler a clarity that how much of memory that a compiler needs to allocate for a particular variable, and then what are the different types of values that will be stored inside that memory location. So those two things are given by the data types. So similarly, in any other programming languages or in Python, these data types will tell the compiler how much space should be allocated to a variable and what are the different values that will be stored inside that memory location, right? See here, but in Python, the data types may be quite different. So let us see, let us start the things and then we can discuss about them later. So here in Python programming language, the data types are categorized into 5 groups. The name of the first group is numeric data types, and the second one is dictionary data types, and the third one is Boolean data types, and the fourth one is set data type, and the fifth one is sequence data type. Along with this, these things are divided, again numeric is divided into 3 types. So the numeric is divided into integer, floating point, and complex, where the sequence type is divided into string, tuple, and list. So remember all these names. So let us start discussing about the numeric data types in Python, and then we can discuss the remaining data types in Python. So as we see in this picture, the numeric data types are categorized into 3 groups: integers, floating point numbers, and complex numbers. We all know the representation of complex numbers. I think we are very familiar with the representation of these integers and floating point numbers. If we have something called as -1 or +1, or 0, -2, or +2, -10, +10, all these comes under integers. And then under the floating point number, if something is something we have in the fractional parts, that is for example 10.50, or something called as 1.5, or 2.6, 3.8, all these type of numbers comes under floating point numbers. So if you want to do something with these type of numbers, then we have to go for this float data type. And if you want to do something with these type of numbers, we have to go for integer data type. So I think everyone is familiar with this integer and floating point numbers, because we have already completed the C programming language. In C programming language, we have studied about these integers and floating point numbers. And coming to the third different type, third type of data types in Python. In Python, we have another type under the numeric, that is complex numbers. We all know the representation of complex numbers, that is the real part and imaginary part. For example, in mathematics, we can see that something called as 10 plus 2i, where this 10 is called as the real part and 2i is called as the imaginary part. When we combine this real part and imaginary part, it will represent the complex numbers. So here the Python programming language allows us even to define the complex numbers as a data complex numbers also. So, but one thing is that here the imaginary part is represented with the help of j. So in order to represent the imaginary part, we have to append j at the end of the number. For example, 10 plus 2j, 20 plus 3j, 1 plus 6j, similarly, right? So here, let us start the things with integer data type. So numeric, in Python, numeric data represents the data which has numerical value, and then numeric value can be integer, floating point number, or even complex number. So these values are defined as int, float, and complex class in Python, right? And then let us see integers. So this value is represented by int class. It contains positive or negative whole numbers without fraction or decimal. In Python, there is no limit to how long an integer value can be. See here, when you are dealing with Java programming language, there we have integer data types are divided into 4 categories: byte, short, int, and long. So among these 4 categories, 1 byte of memory will be allocated for byte data type, 2 bytes of memory will be allocated for short data type, 3 bytes of memory will be allocated for int data type, and 4 bytes of memory will be allocated for, 4 bytes of memory will be allocated for int data type, and 8 bytes of memory will be allocated for long data type. So if you are dealing with somewhat small numbers, very small numbers, then we can go for byte data type. And if you are doing something with somewhat bigger numbers, you can go with short data type. And if you are dealing with somewhat higher numbers, you can go with int data type. And if you are dealing with very high numbers, then you can go with long data type. All are going to store integers only, but depending upon the length of the value, we may go for byte, short, int, or long in Java. But in Python, there is no need to worry about the limit. or there is no need to worry how long an integer value can be. Anything, any value can be stored inside an integer variable, that is up to minus infinity to plus infinity. So there is no limit, right? And then here, let us see how these integers can be represented in Python with the help of a program. So before going to see about how the integers can be represented in Python, so let us see how to print a small text on the output screen by using in Python programming language. So for this, I'm going to use an online Python compiler where I can do programs and I can see the output. See here. First, I want to explain how we can print computer science and engineering over the output screen in C programming language. If I want to print computer science and engineering over the output screen by using C programming language, I have to write all this code, hash include stdio.h, and then hash include conio.h, and then void main. So inside the function, right, inside the function, I have to write clr scr in order to clear the old output screen. And then in C programming language, if you want to print something on the output screen, then we are going to use the printf statement. If I want to print computer science and engineering, right, over the output screen, so I have to use printf within the braces and within the double quotates computer science and engineering. So at the end, we are going to use a getch function. So you can see here, you can observe here. So in order to print a single statement over the output screen in C programming language, we have written 8 lines of code. But in Python programming language, right, Python programming language, for simply printing something on the output screen, there is no need of header files. There is no need to write this main method. Right? There is no need to clear the old output screen each and every time. The old output will be cleared by default. And then there is no need to use this getch function and closing braces also. So in order to simply print computer science and engineering over the output screen, we can use the function print. So if I run this program, that itself print computer science and engineering over the output screen. So in C programming language, for getting the same output, we have written 8 lines of code. But in Python, we have written only 1 line of code. So that is the beauty of Python, where we can do programming with less number of lines, right? So similarly, so let us discuss about how we can define numerical variables or integer variables in Python. So let us do addition of 2 numbers program in C programming language, and then let us convert the program. Let us convert the same program in Python. So in order to do addition of 2 numbers in C programming language, what we are going to do in the sense, we are going to write the 2 header files, and then we are going to mention the main function, and then we are dealing with something called as addition of 2 numbers. That's why I have declared 3 integer variables, and then I am going to assign values to that variables. For example, a equal to 10 and then b equal to 20. After assigning the values to a and b, I am going to add those 2 values, that is a plus b. I am going to store the result in C. And finally, if I want to print the result C over the output screen, I need to make use of a format specifier. So we are dealing with integers. That's why I have used %d, C. So this is what we need to write in a C editor in order to add 2 numbers, in order to add 2 integers. So if you can observe, it has took almost 12 lines of code in order to add 2 numbers and printing the result on the output screen. If we write the same program in Python, as I said earlier, there is no need to have these header files. There is no need of this main function. There is no need of these braces. And then there is no need of this separate declaration of variables. There is no need to declare those variables separately, right? And old output will be cleared automatically. So there is no need of that function clrscr in Python. And simply at last there is no need to use get ch and there is no need to use closing braces because we don't open any braces, right? So, and finally, if you want to print something on the output screen, we are going to just use the print statement, and we don't need any format specifier here. So by simply saying print C, output of C will be printed on the output screen. So here, addition of two numbers program in C programming language almost took 11 to 12 lines of code, but here in Python, it has took only 4 lines of code, right? Just run the program, and if you run the program, you can observe the output of this code is 30 because we have printed the value of C, where C can be generated by adding the value of A and B, where A in turn contains 10 and B in turn contains 20. So see here in Python, when we declare A equal to 10, depending upon the value which was in the RHS side, right? Depending upon the value which was in the RHS side, the variable in the LHS side data type will be defined by the compiler. So if you are having 10 on the RHS means, then the data type of the variable will be integer. If you are having 10.50 on the RHS means, then the data type of the variable will be floating point number. Or if you are having something different on the RHS means, then the data type of the variable will be some other data type. For example, if we are having 10 plus something called as 2j, 10 plus 2j, where we have combined the real part and imaginary part on the RHS, then the data type of this variable will be complex data type. So this is how the variables and the data types will be declared in Python. So the data type of the Python will not be represented on the LHS. There is no need to mention the data type of a variable. So depending upon the value what we have assigned to that variable will be considered under the data type, right? So there is no need to mention int a comma b comma c, or there is no need to mention float a comma b comma c. We can simply assign integer values, then the data type will be integer. If we assign floating point values, then the data type will be floating point. And similarly, if we assign the complex values, then the data type will be complex, right? So here, this is how we can declare an integer data type in Python, right? And let us see the next things, right? Float. This value is represented by the float class, right? It is a real number with floating point representation. It is specified by a decimal point. Optionally, the character E or capital E followed by a positive or negative integer may be appended to the specific scientific notation to specify scientific notation. So see here, if you want to represent the exponent numbers, we can append small e or capital E followed by a positive or negative number. And similarly, similar to the integers and floating point numbers, if you want to represent the complex numbers, so complex number is represented by a complex class. It is specified as real part plus imaginary part, where the imaginary part was mentioned by using j. You can see here. So if you want to mention a complex number, for example, 2 plus 3j, 2 is the real part and 3j is the imaginary part. And then see here, important note. So type function is used to determine the type of data type. So as we saw earlier, for example, I have declared 3 variables, a equal to 10, b equal to 20.30, c equal to 2 plus 4j, right? 2 equal to c equal to 2 plus 4j. So here, as I said earlier, depending upon the RHS value, the data type of the variable will be defined. For example, here A is an integer type because we have assigned an integer value to A. B is of floating point type because we have assigned floating point variable to B. And C is of complex type because we have assigned 2 plus 4j to C. So if you want to know, right, if you want to know the data type of the variable, right, if you want to know the data type of the variable, simply I can use a function called as type. So if I use the function called as type, so it will mention the data type of the variable. So print type of A, and then if you want to know the data type of variable B, I can simply give print type of B. And then if I want to know the data type of the variable C, I can simply give data type of C. So now if you execute this program, then the data type of variable A, B, and C will be printed on the output. So if I execute this program, if I run this program, you can observe here the data type of variable A is int, and which means the A belongs to class int, B belongs to class float, and C belongs to class complex, right? So if I change this one, for example, if I change this one and if I run the code, if I change this one, if I run the code, you can see here int float int, because we have assigned 2 to C. So as I said earlier, depending upon the RHS value only, the data type of the LHS variable will be defined, right? And then, so here type function is used to determine the type of data type. So we have already seen this one, and then let us revise this one. So Python data types are categorized into 5 groups. The first one is numeric. So we have completed this numeric. Numeric means it may be an integer, floating point number, or a complex number, right? So, and we are going to cover the topic called as sequence types. After covering the sequence type, we can look at it, a dictionary, and then Boolean and set, right? So let us start the things with the sequence type. So in sequence type, sequence is the ordered collection of similar or different data types. Sequence allows to store multiple values in an organized and efficient fashion. So there are 3 different types under the sequence type of string, list, and tuple. So see here, while you are dealing with C programming language, for example, if I have declared something called as int A, then I was allowed to store only one value. If I write int A equal to 10, see here, whenever the compiler sees this statement, it is going to create a memory location which is of 2 bytes if we are using the old compiler, and the name of the memory location will be A. And if I have assigned this value, if the compiler executes the second statement, then it is going to store the value 10 inside that memory location, right? So if I again, I have added one more statement called as 20, right? First, and then I have written one more statement called as A equal to 30. Then after executing the first line of statement, this memory creation will be done. After executing the second line of statement, 10 will be stored inside the memory location, right? After executing this third line of statement, 20 will be stored, the 10 will be erased, and 20 will be stored in the same location. After executing the third line, 20 will be erased and 30 will be stored in the same location. So here, if you write int A, then you are allowed to store only one value at a particular point of time. If you are storing multiple values, for example, A equal to 10, A equal to 20, A equal to 30, A equal to 40, then A is not going to store 10, 20, 30, 40. A is initially going to store 10, and if I write A equal to 20, the 10 will be updated with 20. And if I write A equal to 30, 20 will be erased, and in place of 20, 30 will be updated. And if you write A equal to 40, 30 will be erased and 40 will be stored in the same location. So here, see, I am going to make a small change in the representation. Instead of writing int A, right? Instead of writing int A, if I have written int A of 3, if I have written int A of 3, then what is going to be happen in the sense, some 6 bytes of memory space will be created, where the memory space will be divided into 2 bytes to each. So each and every memory cell will be of 2 bytes, and the names of this memory location will be, the first memory location name will be A of 0, the second memory location will be A of 1, and the third memory location name will be A of 2. Because we have already seen in C programming language that an array index will start with 0 and ends at n minus 1. If the n value is 3, and the index will end at A of 2. See here, if I write I write a equal to 0, it will raise a compile time error because there is no space with the name a. There is space with a of 0, or there is space with a of 1, or there is space with a of 2, but there is no space with a. That's why we are going to get a compile time error. So in order to avoid this compile time error, instead of writing a equal to 0, we have to mention the index value equal to 0. So if we want to store 0 in the first position, we have to mention 0. If you want to store 0 in the second position, we have to mention 1. If you want to store 0 in the third position, we have to mention 2. So depending upon the position where we want to store the 0 value, we have to provide an index value. That index value will be from 0 to n minus 1. See here, in this concept of arrays, right, in this concept of arrays, we are going to store multiple values of same data type under the name a, where the index value may change, but the name of that variable will be a. So similar to this one, in Python also we have sequence type. See here, sequence is the ordered collection of similar or different data types. So in array, it is an ordered collection of similar data types. So here, if I write int a of 3, I am allowed to store only integers in this array. I am not allowed to store the floating point numbers. I am not allowed to store the Boolean values. I am not allowed to store the character types. Only I am allowed to store the integer values. So here an array is an ordered collection of similar items. But in Python, a sequence type, it is an ordered collection. But in that ordered collection, I may have a similar items or I may have a different items. So sequence allows to store multiple values in an organized and efficient fashion. So similar to the arrays, we can store multiple values where the values may be similar or different data types, but they will be organized in an efficient fashion. So there are different types of sequence types in Python. So the different types of sequence type are string, list, and tuple. So let us have a look at these three types, that is the string, list, and tuple in the next class, right? So till now in today's session, we have seen about, right, what are the different data types in Python, and we have seen that the data types are divided into 5 categories: numeric, sequence type, dictionary, etc. So under the numeric also we have seen the 3 different data types, that is the integers, complex numbers, and floating point numbers. And now we have started the sequence type. We have seen that the sequence type is also 3 types: string, tuple, and one more thing, list, right? String, tuple, and list. So we have seen the introduction. And in the next class, we are going to see about in detail about what is a string, how we can define strings in Python, and then what is a tuple, how we can access the tuple, and what is a list, how we can create it, and how we can access the elements of the list in the next class. And I hope everyone got understand today's session. And still, if you have any doubts regarding today's session, you can put a comments in the comment box of this video. Right? I really thank each and every listener for being here. And we will meet in the next class with the concept of sequence types. And thank you once again.